What's up, everybody? On this episode, we're going to talk about ad fatigue, why it exists, and how we're going to overcome it.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. All right, so today we have Mr. Rob Childers on the show, our Facebook ad specialist, our Facebook ad assassinator. This guy's amazing. And a couple things you might want to know about Rob. He's a big Star Wars fan.
Definitely.
Big Disney fan.
Love Disney.
Harry Potter.
It's awesome.
Hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Did I miss anything?
Comic
books.
lot of things, but I don't think we're going to fit all my interests in on this one.
We're not going to fit all. See how he says interests? You know why he says interests? Because that's Facebook terminology.
Very true.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Okay, so there's a couple things that we want to talk about in the show. And the reason Rob is the one that I wanted to have on the show is because Rob is a guy that's just absolutely killing it. For the businesses he's actually managing in Facebook advertising. And so you just broke the record.
I did, 120 leads. 120 leads.
Well, in
1 week.
120 qualified leads for a fitness studio in 1 week. It was for Fit Club,
yes.
Right? Your client's Nathan.
Yep.
So Nathan, when you're watching, you helped Rob break the record, or he helped us. He helped you break the record. But 120 leads, that's with the name, the email, phone number. What the hell are you doing that's making it so amazing?
Just kind of applying my expertise, right, in the Loud Rumor flavor program. It's pretty awesome.
It's very awesome. Okay, so the thing that Rob deals with, and basically anybody that's managing a Facebook ad account, and you guys that are watching, if you guys have Facebook campaigns running, you've already experienced this if it's been longer than what, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks probably?
It's dependent on the campaign, but yeah, probably about 3-4 weeks it seems.
Cool, and that's ad fatigue. So ad fatigue sucks. And if it were my call, ad fatigue wouldn't exist, and we would just set up a campaign once, and we would just be able to let it go, and forever it would be amazing. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It definitely would. Make my job a lot easier.
Well, you wouldn't have a job.
Hey, very true.
Because we wouldn't need you. We'd basically
you'd still need someone to build them.
Well,
Come on.
We'd have you build it. But what we need is someone like you that can look at the account and the business and the opportunities and constantly find a way to beat ad fatigue and continuously get 120 leads a week or whatever that particular business that you're working with, continuously get those results, because if you don't know how to beat ad fatigue, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah, definitely.
What is ad fatigue now?
So essentially, ad fatigue is when your ad is kind of overexposed, so to speak. It's getting in front of people on an excessive amount, either excessive amount or really they're just kind of sick of seeing it, or it's just kind of stops working. The ad becomes fatigued, so to speak. It's not running properly like it should be, not getting the results you expect it to, and it really is just kind of slowing down or stopping when it comes to your lead generation.
You know, there's rumors as to why it happens, why it doesn't happen. You hear some experts, digital marketer Ryan Dice talking about, or perpetual traffic, people on the show.
Yeah.
They talk a lot about it being, Facebook wants stuff in the news feed to be news.
Yes.
And so here we go, a week or 2 weeks, and you're showing the same stuff to the same people, but there's other people wanting to advertise to that same demographic. If Facebook has to choose, I'd rather show something that actually is more new.
Yes, definitely.
Right? And every area seems to be different. So we've had clients that we hit ad fatigue in 5, 6, 7 days.
Oh, even less than that, I'd say. We've had some clients where we'll get them, 10, 12 leads a day for 3 days, and then all of a sudden it just drops to none a day, 2 a day. It's pretty crazy. You never know how it's going to work.
And it's usually a lot has to do with location, or people that, if you're also being targeted by a bunch of other people, you're going to have a higher likelihood of that happening.
Oh yeah, location is definitely extremely important when it comes to that.
Okay, cool. And then I've seen it go as long as a month and a half before.
Oh yeah,
my dojo went for a long time, right?
Jabs too. Jabs went for really. We did have some minor tweaks here and there, but yeah, that one ran for I think two months. I want to say.
No, it was about a month and a half. But either way, still, without hitting ad fatigue, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So
a lot of it has to do with who you're targeting and where those people actually are. So now ad fatigue, the reason it sucks is because you're not you're not just not getting leads, you're also still getting clicks.
Oh, yeah.
Because what Facebook seems to be doing is they're not showing your ads, they're just showing it to maybe like a second tier. Maybe people that aren't necessarily fitting the interest 100% like they were before. Maybe it's like certain sections of it and they're giving this to some other people.
Yeah.
Because you could totally tell you're hitting a whole different group of people at that point.
Oh yeah, and you're still spending your budget pretty regularly. I mean, we'll see it where people will go from spending $33 a day, getting 12 leads a day, like I was saying, to spending $33 a day and getting no leads. So definitely still getting clicks and stuff, but it doesn't seem like they're the right clicks, unfortunately.
Okay, so let's talk about if I am running a Facebook ad campaign, I just hit ad fatigue, it's clear, right? I was getting 12 leads a day, 12 leads a day, 12 leads a day, 0 or like 1. What are some first steps that I should probably consider taking in order to start beating this?
Well, the first thing is you're going to want to, make sure that you've really hit it. You will on occasion see it where you'll hit, 12 leads a day, 12 leads a day, 1 lead a day, and then you start panicking, right? You go into that panic mode. I know I'm guilty of it.
You never panic.
I may not visibly, but I definitely
You totally panic. Anyway, go ahead.
But you'll see it where they'll get that 1 lead, and you're like, oh shoot, I only got 1 lead. What do I do? But then the next day, you get another 12 leads. So it really is dependent on that type of thing. So don't kind of go into instant panic mode, especially because you don't want to go in and make massive drastic changes at the slightest hint of something to do with bad. With that being said, if a day goes by, you get 1 lead, next day goes by, you're still only getting 1 lead, then you're going to want to go in and make some changes. And there's a lot of different things you can do, but there's 2 main changes that I really like to focus on and I think works well, and I know Digital Marketer has backed this up as well, and there's a lot of authorities talking about it. You have 2 ways you can go. The first, you change the ad image. And rotating your ad images, it's an extremely simple change. You kind of just, go in there, change out the image. I recommend duplicating the ad set, or the ad rather, if you are going to go ahead and make that change.
So wait, hold on. So the people watching are not catching the duplication part. So let's talk about that.
So basically, by duplicating your ad, it's just a simple step in Facebook's Power Editor, if you do use that platform, that allows you to just duplicate your ad, keeps all the same words, headline, image, everything like that, but it resets the stats. It resets the likes, the comments, the shares, the clicks, the leads, everything.
It's a whole new ad. It's just the same information.
Exactly.
So you say it's in Power Editor. You can't do this in Ads Manager.
You can go ahead and duplicate. It's just a lot more of a difficult process. I would say,
if somebody really wants Facebook advertising to be a part of their business,
Power
do
Editor.
You recommend they learn Power Editor?
100%. It makes the whole process easier.
Do you think people that are not learning Power Editor because they think they can just do it in Ads Manager, do you think they're kind of being a little stubborn and they need to figure it out? Because the way I look at it is, I know Power Editor. I understand Ads Manager. Power Editor is amazing.
Definitely. Anytime it comes to creating, editing, duplicating, or making really any changes to the campaign ad sets or ads themselves, Power Editor is the way to go.
If you don't use Power Editor, you can go online, you can learn how to use Power Editor, right? Like Facebook has a tutorial or a list of tutorials for how to use it, right?
Facebook has some great videos. They also have some good written content on how to use it, as well as a lot of other sites give you some tutorials. Loud Rumor has a lot of good basic Power Editor stuff like that. So there's a lot of different resources out there for you to learn Power Editor. And honestly, it's really not difficult. It's really about the same level of complication as Ads Manager. You just use it for different things.
And you have more things that you can do.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's say we're in Power Editor now, and the duplicate icon. Sam, when you're editing this video here, can you put the duplicate icon, just so the paper over the paper, just add that in there? And so you're going to look for the icon that looks like that, and you're going to click on that, and that's how you're going to actually duplicate the ad. You're going to rename it, obviously, because it's going to say the ad name copy, right? Because it's just copying it.
Yeah.
And then from there, you change up the image. And I know Billy Jean, the guy that we really learned a lot from as well, and you have mentioned this quite a bit too, is really changing up the offer. Is the offer a big thing for you as well in the copy?
So the offer is big, but I wouldn't kind of jump to that right away, because there are a lot of changes you can make with your campaign, at least to test to see if that kind of brings it back up before you instantly switch to creating an offer. Because when you create an offer, you have to create a whole new campaign, as well as whatever other aspects of the campaign you're doing to fit that offer. And so that's kind of the last step you want to look at changing after you've exhausted all other options. So you've got rotating your ad images is the first thing. That's a really easy fix, and what that does is it gets new images in front of maybe the same people. So you have people people who are scrolling through and they're seeing your images, and maybe they've already seen the ad a couple times, so they just see your image and they just scroll right past it because they've already seen it. But if you're putting a new image up there, they're going to scroll through it. They'll see an image they don't recognize or haven't seen. Maybe that entices them to stop and click on it that time. So that's one of the benefits of rotating out the ad images. And that's a really quick, simple fix to kind of get you started to see if maybe that's your issue. One of the other aspects that a lot of people like to look at changing is the targeting, and the reason for that is just to kind of get in front of a new audience, so to speak. This is a lot more in-depth and kind of, I would say, in some ways more difficult than changing out the ad image, because in a lot of times you may have already exhausted this aspect, or maybe not necessarily exhausted it, but it's hard to find new people to get in front of, especially if you're a local business.
If you're going real niche.
Exactly, because you really want to focus on a certain area. You have a couple different options that you can go about doing to get in front of a new audience that I'm sure, maybe we'll go over to, lookalike audiences, email lists, things like that. But in terms of just your general targeting, it can get very difficult getting in front of new people if you've already been running in front of a certain audience for an extended amount of time. So that's kind of a more in-depth change you can look at doing, and what that does is really gets the same offer and ad image that you've been using in front of new people that aren't familiar with it. So it's really, in both senses, trying to create a new experience for people utilizing the same content or offer. And that really kind of, that helps with getting people who maybe are familiar with it to click it because it seems unfamiliar to them, or maybe they weren't interested in the first image, so they want to click the second image, or different things like that. Or in terms of the audience changes, you're getting in front of people who haven't seen it yet. So even though that's the more difficult of the two options, that's another way you can try and focus on maybe countering ad fatigue as well.
Cool. And one thing I've heard too, because even though you're showing a different image, it's still the same company, virtually the same offer. What I've heard from customers, and that was last week's customer update video that we sent out, was saturation. At what point am I hitting everybody that I could possibly hit? I've heard that from customers. Okay, well, at this point, am I showing my ads to everybody? Is it worth continuing a Facebook advertising program? Well, yes, and here's for everybody that's not our customer, that didn't get a chance to see the customer update. Have you heard of Nike before? Chances are yes. Have you heard of Doritos? Have you heard of Apple? Have you heard of Starbucks? Have you heard of Harley Davidson? You've probably heard of all of those, right? And if you never see another ad for the rest of your life, 40 years down the road, I can ask you, have you heard of Nike? Have you heard of Starbucks? And you're going to be able to say yes. Do you agree?
Definitely.
Why the hell are they still advertising them?
Because, there's always changes, first of all.
Well, not just that. It's not about just being in front of you once. It's about staying in front of you, because most people are not impulsive buyers. Actually, you and I are very different buyers.
Very different buyers, yes.
So how would you describe our buying differences?
So Mike is very, he'll take your opinion. If you tell him something's great, he'll take your word for it and buy it. I like to do a lot more research into my purchases. I'll read reviews online extensively, maybe watch some videos, watch whatever it is I'm buying, videos of it being used and things like that, and different ways like that. Whereas, you'll take it at face value, say, okay, I trust you, and you'll get it, So very different in that aspect.
People like me as a customer, they get frustrated with Rob. But Rob probably makes less mistakes, but I waste less time.
Very true.
Who knows what's better? But at the end of the day, more people are actually like you than like me, where they do like to do a little research. You probably do more than the average guy, but there's people that definitely, I'm not the average. I'm way on the other side. So with that being said, I saw this ad for Nike. Maybe I don't need sneakers right now. Maybe I don't need a new, pair of shorts right now. But when the time comes that I do need a pair of shorts, or I do need a pair of sneakers, I got Nike and this other brand. This one, in my mind, is more familiar, and therefore I'm more comfortable buying it. So if you're a fitness studio owner, and let's say you own a Fit Body Boot Camp, well, that's great. You have a brand that you definitely know and saturating to you, because there's 500 locations or more. All the other owners. You probably see so many things throughout the week between emails. To you, it's branded.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what Fit Body Boot Camp is.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And so, okay, great. I see this offer for a free week. Maybe I download it, maybe I don't. But whatever it is, I saw the brand, but I maybe didn't become a member yet. Then I keep seeing it through retargeting ads, through maybe some YouTube ads, or whatever it is. I keep seeing it over and over and over. And then maybe 4 months down the road, my inconsiderate friend posts a picture of me in the most unflattering position possible, and I just look like I'm totally overweight compared to where I want to be, and I want to make a change. That's the time that I decide Fit Body Bootcamp is the one I'm most comfortable with, because they're the ones that I've been seeing over and over and over. And that's what bigger companies are really realizing. It's not about getting in front of your customer, it's about staying in front of your customer until that right time. So can you really ever advertise too much to the same audience?
Oh, not at all. I mean, that branding aspect is always there. You know, you want to build your brand, get brand recognition over time. And that's why Nike and Apple and Harley Davidson and all those companies you named are so successful, is because A, yes, they do put out a quality product, but B, you know, you could have never owned a pair of Nike shoes, but you know exactly what they are, specifically for this exact reason, that brand recognition and the power of that brand. And so, you know, when you're a fitness studio, you have your ones with brand equity, you know, strong brand equity that are really recognizable, your Orange Theories and things like that. But you also have, you know, even your smaller ones. Fit Body Bootcamp is a great example you brought up, because my girlfriend actually in Michigan, she was mentioning to me she wants to go to a Fit Body Bootcamp. And, you know, even us in the fitness realm, this was probably 2-3 months ago. They were in pre-sale, and I had never even heard of Fit Body Bootcamp, right? And they're a pretty big chain. They're nationwide,
Right.
you know.
No, they're actually outside
Worldwide,
the country.
exactly, yeah. So that's a prime example, because she mentioned it, and then I got the name in my head, and I started looking at it, and then we signed a couple of them and things like that. And, you know, now I know exactly who they are, what they do, and everything like that. But, you know, you go back 2-3 months, this huge franchise I had never even heard of, and we're in the fitness realm.
Right.
So that's really a good example, is once that's there, you know, you create that recognizability. I would see it anywhere. I recognize a Fit Body Bootcamp. I know what it is. So going back to your example, that's the same thing, you know. Even as a baby, you know, you're seeing Nike, you're seeing things like this, and so it creates that brand recognition in your mind simply through advertising. And so, like Mike said, when you're down the line looking for a new pair of shoes, looking for a new gym, you want to get fit, you know, you're going to remember those ads and say, hey, you know, that was a really cool ad. I just wasn't interested at the time. Maybe now you're interested, so you're going to go to that company because you do remember and recognize them.
Right. Cool. So yeah, showing your stuff in front of the same people is great. I mean, we do it, and we know that our lead flow is consistent, and we know people that are really great at Facebook advertising in general, they do it, and their lead flow is consistent, because the guy that saw the ad today may not fill out the form till 3 months from now, and that's just the way it goes. But you're also building a really great list for email, building a great list for retargeting. You should be. If you haven't started building a retargeting or email list with your Facebook advertising efforts, you're missing out on some huge opportunities down the road, because that really has some really great growth potential as well. So maybe, Sam, we should start making an episode about retargeting email lists, really building a list out, because I think that would be really valuable as well. So stay tuned for that one. Other than that, you know, ad fatigue is something that's beatable.
Oh, yeah.
We know that for sure. Actually, we would be out of business if it wasn't beatable.
Definitely.
Right? So it's definitely beatable. We just got to really look at changing certain things. So learn the Power Editor, update your images. What do you use for images? If you want, because you're not a graphic designer.
I'm not.
I'm not. So what tool do you recommend to somebody that's not a graphic designer? They want to whip together some images really quickly.
PicMonkey definitely is what I usually use for my ads. It allows you really quick overlays, so you can just throw in the file. You just click overlay, add your own, and you just go to your computer. You got a logo. It'll allow you to overlay that. You can overlay text talking about the offer. You can crop the images. Really simple. It's really a simplified version of Photoshop, and it's free, which is awesome. So
awesome, cool. So PicMonkey, definitely check that out. Check out the Power Editor, learn that. You'll save yourself a heck of a lot of time. It's faster, it's more efficient, a lot less opportunities to make mistakes as well, I think, too, the way it's set up. And don't let ad fatigue beat you. You can win. Good? Any other words you want to add to that?
No, just you're always going to be working at it, I think, to beat ad fatigue, but it really is worth it in order to keep the campaign going. You know, it's a great thing when you see that 1 to 2 leads a day and you're kind of down a little bit and you make some changes, and then the next day you're back up to 10, 12 leads a day. It's an amazing feeling, and it's great. So.
Also, side note, Rob is on a mission to be famous, and he believes strongly that after this episode, he's going to get discovered.
There you go.
So this might be the last episode with you.
Oh, I don't forget about where I started from,
No,
so I'll always
it.
come back for you guys.
I appreciate it, and we'll definitely, can we get some tickets to whatever movie you star in?
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
Autographs, everything.
You're a nice guy, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
No problem.
Thank you. Don't let ad fatigue beat you.